Okay, boys and girls, welcome back. On today's video, we've got an exciting project we're working on. This isn't a project I'm going to get done quickly, but it's one that I'm officially started on now. Just go ahead and give you an idea of what we're doing here. If you get down right here, we are officially working on getting the turbo onto the Cadillac. I've got my intercooler mounted up halfway in place where it's going to be. I've got everything clearanced out, got my bottom supports made up, and yeah, we've got all of our room that we're going to have. We pulled the radiator out, got it over here set off to the side. Fan pulley and everything's off, so we've got a good 5 inches, give or take. So we might have enough room to be able to use our factory radiator. Just might have to do a different fan, but that we are making progress on this, and hopefully we will be able to have this in here and at some point have the turbo on this thing. So that is the plan. But as you noticed, we are not at my house or my parents' house. We are at a shop in Arkansas. A good friend of mine, Jim Parkinson, he's a family friend of me and my dad's, and we are down here and we are working on it with him, and we're going to try and get this thing all together. So that is our project, and we'll kind of keep you up to date as we make progress. So let's get after it. All right, boys and girls, welcome back. So we are back down here at Arkansas. I've been working on the Nova, and I am terrible about YouTube. I forgot to set up the camera and show you guys what we was working on. So I'm going to show you where we're at. We've got these headers right here all mounted up. I got 2 bolts in them tight where they're going to be mounted to. So those aren't moving anywhere. So and after we got that done, I have started working on my crossover tube, which is right here. Kind of just got it tacked in place on a couple spots on each joint. We've got it V-banded on both sides. One with the male end, one with the female end. So future reference, they'll be easier to get the one on the right side. Yes, sir. Making progress. We got this other one over here. It's all welded up. It's all done. Only thing this one's going to need is a V-band put on it. And we've got our gap right through here where the crossover is going to come up through there right by the flywheel, and then I'm going to bring my other 3-inch pipe straight up through this hole, and these two will come together as a Y, and then we'll have that go across, go to the turbo, and we'll be able to dump the wastegate right down there probably. And yeah, got that all mounted up, got the turbo cover on, intercooler's mounted. And this header has got 2 bolts in it, so that's exactly where it's going to be. We're clearing our steering linkages. So still got a lot of work to go on it, but there is progress being made. Dropped my intake off at 417 Motorsports. That's a local shop to me, I guess, and they are drilling out the intake bungs, or injector bungs. It's going to be drilled out for LS1 injectors, because that was what was recommended. And we are just slowly chipping away at it. But turbo's all mounted up. I don't know if I showed you guys that. But starting out with this side, I started out with a big block Chevy header that would fit a 73 Nova, or that would fit a Nova, not just a 73. But which, we had to cut that tube and put a little extension in there to make it up to there. But I didn't factor in, I didn't leave myself enough room for this one bolt here, so I have to put this bolt in at the same time the header goes in, so that's a pain in the butt, but that's my fault. But overall, it's coming together. So here in a minute, I'll set the phone up, and I'll let you guys kind of watch as I climb up from underneath this thing about 20 more times. So all right. guys, I'll go ahead and show you crawling underneath here. So here's the coming out of our headers into our V-band. Got it kind of just snugged, not really tight, which is coming through here. Got decent clearance for our torque converter, you know, nice fingers widths. So nothing there. We are close right here on the actual bell housing part. So which that's not a big deal. That's something that can be trimmed up just a little bit on the transmission. Come on over to this side. Here's where we have our other V-band. And going on up, the issue I'm running into right now is I think I made this pipe right here, just straight across, I think I made it too long. I think I should have made it about 1.5 inches too short, or shorter than this, and I'll show you why. But yeah, there it is going straight across. That's gonna work decent there, because one option I'm thinking about doing is cutting this piece, cutting 1.5 inches out of it, so that I can move, so it'll move my V-band over 1.5 inches, because when I get up to this side, up here, where that tube's got to come through, with it in its current spot, it's barely touching the power steering gearbox, and that's going to put a lot of heat in it. And it's currently contacting the motor mount, which that can be trimmed a little bit, and it's this little L bracket here, it's contacting it as well. But if I go ahead and I move it over on this end, you know, 1.5 inches, now 1.5 inches over, I can clear the head, I can clear the motor mount, I can clear the gearbox, but I'm gonna have to redo that work there then, which is not the end of the world. Or the other option, leave it sitting as is, the V-band down there. Go ahead and, right there's where it's in it. Because if I go over to the left here to clear the gearbox, it's not going to clear the head. Unless I shorten the tube. Not the worst idea. I might do that. So I got to make a decision here shortly. The other option I guess I could do is I could shorten the tube, you know, down to maybe here. That would give me room to get further, closer to the block and away from the gearbox. And then I could use a bend once it's shorter and bring it back up into this empty space here and have a higher angle, so it would come right through here. Maybe that's what I need to do. Shorten this tube and put a bend in it. And leave the pipe where it's at. What would be best? What would be best? I'm not gonna lie to you, I kind of like the idea of shortening it. Oh. There's an issue I forgot about. Dipstick tube goes in there. So I can't go too far over to the left. That'll be in the way. But it's going, the dipstick tube's gonna be right there. Got plenty of room for that. So yeah, I could move that. Cut it to right there below this tube. Cut it up there, and then I can move it an extra. Because right now I'm clearing the gearbox by about 1/4 inch. But if I cut that, move it over, I could probably clear the gearbox by 1 inch, and I feel a lot better about, you know, that measurement than I do about this one. Which, all I'd have to do to make that work is go down there and then pie cut my piece of pipe here. That's going to fit up into that V-band, so that's not going to be an issue. Okay. Anyways, I've got plans. I've got thoughts. I just have to figure out which plans and which thoughts are the right ones. All right, I'm getting some thought on it. I'll be back. I had this thing sat here, and I threw a tack on a push rod over there to kind of hold it in place, but I broke that tack and it fell. With that being said, I stabbed my radiator, so I'm gonna have to get a new radiator. That or repair this one, and I just don't know if that's really worth it, because I don't know if this will support enough or cool enough to support this engine with this configuration. Maybe I can, with it out, I can figure out a better way to go about doing the exhaust, because the plan was to bring it out, go down there below the crankshaft, go above the oil filter, and then go into the turbo. But the more I look at it, I just don't know if we're going to be able to get a fan in there. I mean, you know, this piping it's going to be a single 3-inch pipe that these two are going to Y into. Let's bring it down here. This radiator, we've got 4.5 inches from the radiator to the crank pulley. So if you put it at a 1/4 inch gap between there, you'd have 1.25 inches to the fan, and there are fans that are that low profile that would work, but that's going to be putting a lot of heat into these belts up at the front. Which if I went to a electric water pump, because they make an adapter kit to get a small block Chevy electric water pump to use in a Cadillac, I wouldn't need that belt to be going up over the pump. You'd only have to hit the alternator, but that still doesn't take care of my clearance to that. And I don't know if this one's going to get any tight closer up here. But the other option that gives me a lot, probably better options here, would be just to go ahead and go up. Just coming up here. If I went up this high, I've got a solid 5 inches, 5.5. So if I came through here with my exhaust, come through here right in front of this, then drop down into it, and that would give me all my room down here for a fan, another fan. So that's probably what the option is. Bring it up through here above this, come on down. If I do that, then that would hopefully give me enough room I could do an electric water pump, flow more volume than the mechanical, cool it hopefully efficiently enough that a single small fan at the bottom would be enough, because it's a big cubic inch engine, but it's not really going to be making a lot of horsepower. You know, I'm only with this iteration wanting to make like 400 wheel, which very, very modest power, but having bigger goals later on. So anyways, where we're at for tonight, I'm about to go to bed. I want to go ahead and show you the ground clearance as it sits. So, as we are, there's my oil pan, there's my crossover tube. As you can tell, I've got almost the exact same. Actually, that transmission cross member back there is the lowest point on the car. So I'm in a really good spot on the crossover. I love that. And my radiator, it's, you know, a solid how high is this? That's 10 inches, 10 or 11 inches from the ground, so we're doing good on that. But that's part of this kind of stuff. It's just always problem solving, one thing to the next. But I like that option. I like the idea of bringing that tube, cutting it shorter, putting the angle in it, bringing it higher up at angle so it comes up closer to this one, so I could probably do my wire right here. But if I could do my wire right here between these two, then I could just do my single 3-inch and make it work. And if I did it up high like that, that would give me room to get a new radiator and get something figured out there. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think we're gonna have to cut it there. Originally, I had the idea of just bringing it through here and bringing this one down and having them white and go down there. But looking back at that idea, they'd have to go down, come down below the crankshaft. They ain't gonna fit through there. They're not gonna fit. Like, they'd have to go down, around, come back up through this hole here, and then come up and try and go back in, which it could happen, but we got time to figure that out. So anyways, bedtime. I'm just rambling. We'll be back in the morning. All right, so here's the final update for you for the weekend. What we got done: the headers are mounted up. They're in the place they're gonna be. We've got our tube on. We're gonna probably end up doing a different radiator, but we've got all of the room to make our crossover tube. We've got our one header that's on. The crossover tube from the bottom side to the driver's side is done. I just have to weld it up, but everything's in place, and I am done for the weekend. But that is our progress. Got it? You got it? Something else I figured out is that right here, for my charge air cooler tubing, where it's going to come through, for the tire not to get into this, I'm going to have to remove these brackets here, and I will, to get it closer to the front of the bumper so that I can clear the tire when it's that full locked. With that being said, I can do it, and we're going to do it. But after we're done, I'm going to have to build a different brace from the bumper to the frame, but that's not a huge ordeal. So anyways, that's what we're going to have to do, and then we'll have to do that on both sides. And yeah, so it is right there. You can see it coming off the bottom side of the turbo right to there. It's touching. So, but if we go ahead and have it where it can clock over further, we can get it away from the tire. We're not gonna have any clearance issues, and yeah. And we got plenty of room there, and got the exhaust out of the side of it. Shut the door. Yeah, everything's looking good, and we're making progress. So that's the video. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. It's gonna take a lot more time, but we are making headway, and that's all that it's all about. So have a great day, and if you haven't already, like and subscribe. Bye.